The Las Vegas Grand Prix has now wrapped up and concluded, which is good for us since we don't have to endure the cringe marketing anymore. Speaking of cringe marketing, I want us to take a moment of silence for Sonny Hayes, who unfortunately passed away after a huge impact he sustained during qualifying. We won't forget you, Sonny, I promise. Okay, jokes aside, the Las Vegas Grand Prix always delivers, but to be fair, there has only been one race, and that was a banger since there was everything. There was controversy, crashes, drama, and even better racing. So, did this year's race also deliver, or did it fall short to last year? Well, in my opinion, it was pretty damn good. Not the best of the season, but still a very entertaining race. Anyways, with the Grand Prix now concluded, we have the Qatar Grand Prix next up in the final triple header. And quick warning guys, there will be no weekend preview for Qatar since I have spent my time being in Vegas itself. Yeah, if you didn't know, I was at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, and due to me being busy for like 90% of my day, I couldn't get to running the Qatar preview, so apologies for that. But hopefully to make up for it, I will be using clips of me at Vegas and detailing my experience along the way. Anyways, as always, let us start by recapping the weekend and seeing the winners and losers from it. But before we go any further, don't forget to join the Discord where we have lots of good fun and is a great way to connect to me and my community. Also, subscribe if you're new if you want big in gambling, and if you didn't, trust me, just keep going, it's gonna happen sometime. Anyways, enough yapping, and here are the winners and losers from the Las Vegas Grand Prix. As always, recap first, and the weekend starts already with worrying signs. Let's play a game. Can you guys figure out which team is too broke to afford anything? Is it A, the multi-billion-dollar energy drink company? Is it B, the multi-billion-dollar car manufacturer? Is it C, the multi-billion-dollar investor team? Or is it D, the team that has no billions of dollars but has the billion-dollar bill? Yeah, it's obviously D, or I should say Williams. Williams had rumors entering the weekend that they were not going to run because they were too broke to fix the car's damage from Brazil, and oh my goodness, why must the poorest team suffer the biggest paychecks? It's not even funny to point and laugh anymore. Anyways, those rumors were false and they would run, so let's hope for no crashes. Anyways, it's time for FP1, and let me tell you now, if you think the F1 cars are quiet, that's because you haven't heard them live, and this only makes me wonder how loud the V8 and V10 days were if the V6s were that loud in person. Anyways, FP1 would see absolutely nothing, except for one major thing. Red Bull looked so ridiculously slow. At first, we believed sandbagging, but it became clear the car did not like the track and was losing so much time in the straights especially, but it wouldn't take long for the problem to be identified. Of all the things that can possibly happen to a team, never have I heard that they packed the wrong wing. Yeah, they were losing time on the straights due to the team packing the wrong wing, and I kid you not, their solution, instead of fast tracking the correct wing, was to instead chainsaw the motherfucker and pray. My absolute word, man. Anyways, FP2 and absolutely nothing will happen again, other than the Mercedes duo looking absolutely rapid. So I can't wait to see how Russell will win and Lewis will somehow be like P8 or something. FP3 time and nothing again, so let's go to qualifying. For qualifying, I would go top golfing while having a nice view of the track, plus a random V-carb in the middle of the field, so let's see how everyone does. Q1 would see no major surprises other than Alex Albon still not being hard enough for Franco's big balls, and also Max would find some sort of inner peace since with his chainsawed rear wing, he was starting to cook massively on the soft tires. Q2 would see me hit the V-carb at about the front left tire, which means I have cursed one of their drivers, but apparently it was a straw doll since not even 5 seconds after I hit the tire, Franco Colapinto would crash, and guys, it's seriously not funny anymore. Williams again sustains a crash and it looks very costly, and surely they're gonna go over the cost cap at this point, right? Well, whatever, now it's time for Q3, and with the Mercs looking fast, the Ferrari drivers love the circuit, the McLaren car looking balanced, and Max on a mission, who would impress the most? Oh my, it's pure ghastly. Somehow my boy qualified not 6th, not 5th, not 4th, but 3rd place. That is absolutely stunning. Anyways, pole position would be really tight, but George Russell would take it, and I called it. Hamilton finished P10 in quali. This guy is hilarious. So after an extremely tight quali, it is now time for the race, and lap 1 around here can be crazy, so with the race starting, George keeps his lead, however Charles will stick it to the inside like in Coda and reap the benefits since he's now 2nd. the race would quickly neutralize, but Charles was keeping George on his toes until Charles's pace just fell off a cliff and was getting overtaken by everyone behind before finally pitting. Further behind, Max is moving his way up through the field and contending for the podium, while Lando and McLaren just seemed slow. Yeah, McLaren have strangely not been that competitive this weekend, which I think is the final nail in the coffin. The race will neutralize again after the first stops, with the best part being Max versus the Ferraris, and this would carry on the entire race even after Lewis overtook them all. That's right, Lewis was on a mighty charge and it was really beautiful to see, but see, this only makes you wonder what he could have achieved had he not bottled the quali. Anyways, in the dying laps, Mercedes would cruise home to a 1-2 and George Russell would be our 7th different multiple race winner this season, with Max crossing the line in 5th ahead of Norris and becoming our 2024 F1 World Champion. Realistically, Lando never had a chance after Max's head start, but do you know what I'm hearing now? I'm hearing a Charles Leclerc versus Lando Norris versus Max Verstappen, and depending on Mercedes, versus George Russell title fight next year. And man, do I hope it's even better than this year. But yeah, experiencing this race live was an absolute blast, and seeing these cars in person is such a different experience compared to the TV, and if you haven't been to an F1 race before, then please add it to your bucket list. Anyways, now for our winners and losers, and as always, losers first, and we have Sergio Perez. I mean, what is there to say anymore? There's quite literally nothing else to say other than he did it again. He was an embarrassment and a liability to Red Bull yet again. That double overtake though was good, I cannot lie. But seriously, please retire with some dignity, man, please. Anyways, next up is Williams, and my oh my, it's just not funny anymore. Why must this always happen to Williams? Even if they didn't crash, they weren't that spectacular this weekend and were pretty disappointing, but that crash really did make things worse for them. Plus, you had Alex retiring in the race due to engine or whatever, and just stop it. Whoever inflicted a curse on them, I really hope you're happy, because this team is suffering so much and a new discussion must be had. Operationally, who was worse, Ferrari in 2020 or Williams in 2024? Moving on, we have Aston Martin, and more like Aston Fartin, right guys? Okay. Seriously though, this team just gets worse and worse and worse, and just like with Williams, it's really just not funny anymore. Now, Alonso actually did quite well in the race with his funky strategy, but the weekend as a whole was one of their slowest ones in the field of all the slow ones they already had. But maybe it's not all doom and gloom, since apparently we should wait for them in 2026 according to Max and Alonso. What are they hiding now? Finally, and yes, only for losers, but we obviously have McLaren. Championship aside, this weekend was pretty disappointing. Considering Max was heavily impaired this weekend due to a reason that still seems so unbelievable, they could have capitalized, but alas, these lot were just slow this weekend. Now, weekend aside, and come on now, I get it, it was always a tough mountain to climb, but like, you had the best car by a large margin for some of the season, and the balance on that car is absolutely breathtaking. At the very least, he could have gone all the way to the end of the season, but alas, Max was crowned champion in Vegas. Now we have the winners to talk about, and we obviously have Max first up. Max Verstappen is truly a legend of the sport now, and anyone who wants to deny it are simply idiots or Team LH. But like Patrick Star said, what's the difference? Anyways, Max has done everything this season. He has won under pressure, he has won dominantly, he has won in boring conditions and exciting conditions, he has driven defensively and recklessly, he has stayed calm and has crashed out, and through all of that, of course he was always going to win the title this year. He is simply too good, and anyone denying that, please learn to let go. Next up is Mercedes, and what? Even Lewis and George are confused about their pace this weekend. They were looking really bad like usual the past couple weekends, but then they just walk to Vegas and have the best car comfortably, which leads to George's lights to flag victory. Alright man, I'm not complaining since I will always be seated for Russell bangers. And speaking of that, it is not a hot take whatsoever to say if George was in that McLaren car, the gap in the points would at the very most be 15 points or less. And let us not forget Lewis, since he had an amazing race, and even though he started P10, that did not stop him, and if anything, showed that he still has that dog in him. Moving on, we have the midfield heroes, Yuki Tsunoda and Nico Hülkenberg. I'm grouping them together since these two are just so damn good at being mid. They are in mid cars, but damn do they outperform it. Yuki in the V car was just swimming in the field and getting to the points, and Hulk in the Haas was standing his ground and moving his way up. And honestly, these two are just doing so many miracles in the midfield for their teams. Next up is Gasly, and yes, he did engine DNF, but I mean, P3 and quali, excuse me? Even without it, he was still rapid and doing Alpine justice, and with Alpine spawning in P6 in the constructors after their double podium, they will love to keep it since this is millions and millions of dollars that can be earned, so they have to give it their all now. Pierre Gasly will always be one of the most underrated drivers in F1, since this guy can just turn into prime Schumacher whenever he feels like it, and that should fear us and our kids, since I will tell my kids about 2021 Pierre Gasly and the absolute monster he was. Finally, we need to discuss this, but I was genuinely scared I was going to lose millions of dollars since we have Zhou. I really thought for a moment he was going to score Sauber's first points of the season, but thankfully for my wallet, he did not. But still, in qualifying, he was great, and in the race, he made some good moves and stood ground against Checo, but I mean, it is Checo. Plus, at the end of the race, he made a nice move against Colapinto and called him out after Colapinto basically said Zhou was trash, and yeah, brilliant race, and if Bottas performs like this in Qatar, then please, pray for my wallet if he gets points. Now for our bonus categories, and we have the biggest gamblers from this weekend, and we have Colapinto and Alonso. Colapinto betted his left front tire cutting it close to the barrier for a few extra tenths, but instead, he crashed and Williams lost millions. Tough luck, but keep trying, real gamblers never give up. Alonso started in P18 and decided, let's just do pit stops and burn tires, and it worked out since he almost scored points this weekend, so good job. See? How can you win if you give up? And those are my winners and losers from the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Overall, a great race, and we need to have a discussion on how this race is without a doubt top 3 street track, since last year you could give it the benefit of the doubt since there were grid shakeups and crashes, but this year there were no grid shakeups, no crashes, yet the racing was just as good. But let's look at my predictions I made at the start of the week as well as yours. So starting with my quali predictions, I got these ones pretty wrong, but I mean Gasly and P3. For my race predictions, I got these ones pretty wrong too, but no one expected Merc to cook. And for my random prediction, maybe I over-exaggerated a little bit, maybe. Now for your predictions, and they were no different from mine since most of you guys either said McLaren or Ferrari would cook, but never expect the Mercedes Inquisition, I guess. Also, since there will be no Qatar preview, here are the points from the weekend. For upgrades, Ferrari will bring some and everything else is not confirmed. For drama, there's Max being crowned champion, Williams suffering in the deepest pit of money hell, and Mercedes potentially having the DAS system again. For the ones to watch McLaren and Ferrari, and my predictions for the Qatar Grand Prix will be on my Discord, so go join that. Anyways, I want to give a quick thanks to all members of the flock for their continued support, and if you want cool benefits as well as just helping me out, make sure to join. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and make sure to let me know in the comments who your winners and losers are. And as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.